Welcome to Civil Discourse. My name is Ken Hurley, and this program purports to discuss sometimes controversial issues in a civil manner, and is sponsored by Civication Incorporated, where we try Why do we have to do it? Under what authority does the government have to count us? And what do they do with that information? Among other things, along with the census, we want to discuss with our guest, State Representative Mia Jones from House District 14. She's in the studio with us today. Hi, hello, Mia. Welcome to Civil Discourse. I'm happy you're here. Thank you for taking time out of Tallahassee. You're in session now, I believe.
Yes, we are.
And you're here during the weekend, and we appreciate that very much. And one of the things you want to talk about is the census.
That's right.
And we also want to talk about the work that you're doing in the House. But before we get to that, I understand you're one of the newest members in the House. Is that true?
Yes, I am.
Is it everything you hoped it would be and more?
And more. Definitely and more. It's a new experience. It's an opportunity for me to see the differences in local and state government and how the two interact and how it impacts our community.
Before you got to the House, you were a representative in our city council in Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
Do you see a difference between the workings of the city government and the House and the state government?
There is a drastic difference in the way the two bodies work. Most people would say that they're very similar in the fact that they have committees, they have a similar structure, they're both responsible for creating bills that we'll ultimately live by. They're both responsible for the budget process on the various levels. The differences come in as to how the parties there work together. And what I've found is that it's a lot more political in Tallahassee than it is here in Jacksonville. In Jacksonville, we were able to identify where we had problems around the city, and we were able to work together in order to try to address those problems.
Right. Well, people say that a lot of times, that politicians are playing politics. But what else should we expect them to do? When they say that, it's said in a negative, pejorative manner, as if we're not cooperating, as if there's not bipartisan support, and we're not reaching across the aisle. What is one of the things that surprised you most as you got there? And you're still probably with your eyes wide open. It's one of the things I noticed about you when you first got on city council. You kind of sat back, you got the lay of the land, you listened, and you were absorbing information and learning the process. You might still be in that mode, but you're making observations. What are some of the observations that have surprised you?
Some of the things that have surprised me as I've been in Tallahassee for this past year, year and a half now, is that when you actually identify problems that may be significant across the state, and you may have a solution for them, it doesn't really matter whether that solution is viable or not. What you find is that if it is not a priority of leadership, then it doesn't go anywhere.
Regardless of what merit the issue might have?
Yes.
If they have something that's ahead of it, or something else that is being pushed by special interests perhaps, or their representatives, because they're the leader, they get to say what happens?
That's right.
And you have to toe the line?
No, you don't have to toe the line. I vote against quite a few things, and I make sure that my voice is heard on the issues that I feel are important to my constituents, specifically in District 14 especially, and then making sure that issues that affect Jacksonville are addressed as well.
District 14, let's outline that. This is a little a map of District 14. Is that where you are, highlighted in the yellow?
That's it.
All right. You go almost up to Yulee and down to Baldwin and everything in between. You actually cross the river, don't you?
No, actually.
It doesn't. Or no, you don't cross the river.
No, I don't cross the river.
It's blue, but it's not the river.
Yes. Representative Gibson goes across the river, so I don't have that to deal with. But you're looking at a diverse group of people who have interests and needs that cross many lines, and so we want to make sure that we're addressing those issues and needs. As I look at the various bills that will come across my desk in Tallahassee, as I sit in committees, as I make decisions. Recently I had 3 town hall meetings here in Jacksonville dealing with Medicaid because it's an issue that affects our community. We are part of the reform program in Tallahassee, and people said, oh, everything is working great as it relates to Medicaid reform. What I found is that we do have some issues that we need to address as it relates to that, that we don't need to continue to roll it out as it is, that we need to take those things that are good, keep them going, and those things that are not working, working, we need to get rid of them, revise them, and move forward.
As you took office in the House in Tallahassee, who was there to help guide you? How did you learn the mechanics of it? Or are you still learning it?
Every day is a learning experience. Representative Gibson was truly a mentor for me, as well as Senator Arthenia Joyner out of Tampa. She has been a great mentor for me, and Senator Hill. They've helped me to identify those things that are important for me to do, put it in place processes and procedures that would help me to maneuver the system, to make sure that the bills that I have are heard, to make sure that if I'm trying to take action on something, that I do that in a way that I can be successful.
Well, great. And one of the things we're here to talk about is the census. And a lot of people are not aware that the census is actually constitutionally mandated, which is what this is. Here it is from Article 1, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution. I'm going to read this. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as shall by law direct. That's where we get the mandate for our census, and 2010 is every 10 years. The first census was done in 1790, and we've been doing it ever since. Why is this important?
The census is important to us here in Jacksonville and across the country because it will, as you just read, it will affect the dollars that come into our community.
It'll affect the number of representatives that we have in Congress.
Yes.
It'll cause redistricting to occur.
Yes.
What is redistricting?
Redistricting, you held up the map of my district.
Yes.
It will determine how the lines are drawn for House districts, Senate districts, both on the state level and the national level. And so what it does is it tells anyone how many voters will be in a particular district, what the makeup of those voters will be. And so we have to be very conscious of making sure we are counting everyone so that we can make sure that each person gets a vote.
It's the boundaries of the districts in which the representatives will represent. Right now, each person in the United States Congress represents approximately 650,000 people, and the districts are supposed to be drawn with compact, contiguous lines and about equal numbers of population within the state.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So when the census comes out, we've gone from about 280 million in the year 2000 as a total population to what is expected to be around 308, 309 million in 2010, but where do they live? So the Florida Senate and House get to redraw the map, correct?
Yes, in 2012.
And you will be part of that most likely.
Actually, I'm serving on the Select Policy Council for Strategic and Economic Development, and redistricting is a part of that committee.
Oh, and you probably look forward to that because there's a man named Jerry who was the governor of Massachusetts, who at one point was able, his last name was Jerry, G-E-R-R-Y, and he was Governor Jerry of Massachusetts. And we get the term gerrymandering from him because he drew what was called a salamander-like district to just draw the line so that it would hit all of the people who would vote for him. How do you think that's going to work in the committees? Do you see some arguments over that?
We do see arguments. We know that fair districting is going to be on the ballot in 2010, and how that plays out in terms of our voters determining whether or not how the lines will be drawn. So the fair district amendment is one that will affect the drawing of those lines, what we look at, how we look at it, and making sure that we are fair in the way that we're drawing those lines.
Along with redistricting, which is very critical to the success of a lot of incumbents, they're interested in making sure that their constituents are held in place so they can continue to be incumbents, comes with reapportionment as a result of the number of individuals who will be. Tell us a little bit about what reapportionment is.
The reapportionment process looks at the makeup of the voter, where they are, how they're registered, demographics, a number of demographic items. And so what we do is once we have that information and we know that we have created within our Constitution abilities for us to create certain districts. We have minority districts, we have majority minority districts, and then we have regular districts. We want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to vote for a person that they would be comfortable voting for.
And reapportionment has to do with funding?
The reapportionment process really is more about the vote.
About the vote?
About the vote.
Not about funding?
Not about the funding.
But the census affects funding.
Affects funding.
How important is it then to fill out the census form when it comes to you?
It is critical that we get all of our residents, when they receive their census questionnaire in the mail.
Here's a copy of the census questionnaire. Maybe we can get a quick shot of that too.
We will have, we have 10 questions that we need everyone to answer. It will take about 10 minutes for you to answer those 10 questions, and we ask that you do that because it's going to affect us for the next 10 years. We know that as a result of the census and the numbers and the information that we get back, the federal government will determine how much money comes to Jacksonville and Duval County.
So do you perceive people being a little reticent, reluctant to filling out the form? Big Brothers wants to know where I am. Well, suppose there's a warrant out for me. What if they're going to, trick me into something? What's some of the concerns that you see?
We hear everything you can think of as it relates to concerns that people may have in the community, whether there's a warrant out for my arrest, whether I have child support issues, whether I've done something that, IRS is going to be looking for me to pay back some money. And what we tell people is one of the things that was set up when they set up the Census Bureau is that they are an entity, although they are government, they're an entity of themselves and within themselves. And so the data that they get stays within that organization. So you don't have to worry about the IRS getting information from the census that would then tell them that Ken is at this location and Ken needs to pay this money. And so what we try to do is to make people understand that it's a safe document for them to fill out. They need to be careful. We do have persons who are sending things out that look like they are census documents. Make sure that what you are filling out is the census document, and that anything that asks you for funding, that you send in a contribution or anything like that, that is not the official census form, and that you need to take that, tear it up, put it in the garbage can, and wait for your official census document to come, which will be coming sometime within the middle to the end of March.
Yeah, we're getting ready to have the census, so this is a very timely discussion. And how much time will they have to complete the form? It's not like they have to fill it out that night and get it right back. There's a period of time, correct?
But we encourage you, as soon as you get it, to fill it out and send it back. If you're like me, then you know that once you put it down, you may forget about it until whenever you come back across that paper. What we want you to do is, as soon as you get it, fill it out and send it back. April 1st is what we call Census Day, and the more forms that we have mailed in to us by April 1st, the less we have to go out into the community.
We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. I want to ask a little bit more specifically about some of the questions that are actually on the census. It's a very easy form to fill out: name, address, a couple of other questions. We're going to talk about that. Then I want to talk about some of the issues that you're raising in the House and some of the things that you want to get done for the constituents in District 14. You're watching a program called Civil Discourse. My name is Ken Hurley. Take a look at this. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Civil Discourse. My name is Ken Hurley, and we're talking with Representative Mia Jones from House District 14, state of Florida, and we're talking about the census. Look at this. This is the actual form, the census form. It's blue. It's coming your way, and it's free, and it's so important to fill this out. And we're going to review some of these questions. Mia, explain to us, why this is so important again. And look, all it's asking is for your name, how you're related to the person, what your sex is. These questions are very, very simple questions, right?
Yes, they are.
Why is this so important?
Filling this form out determines how much money is sent to Jacksonville, Duval County, to our school system, how much funding we get as it relates to hospitals, where we put hospitals, road system, where we get funding for our transportation system, schools, how many dollars we'll get for school construction, pupils. We need to know how many students we'll have, what ages they are, and that's why when you fill the form out, we need you to fill it out completely, identifying everyone in the household. We need that because it tells us the age of the person that's there in the household. So we get populations and groups as it relates to that. We know that we can prepare for 500 10th graders in whatever year based on knowing the ages of our young people.
We're actually talking about millions and millions of dollars that are redirected from the federal government as a result of filling out this simple blue form that everybody should be receiving in the mail within a week or two, certainly by the end of March.
Yes.
And you've already identified April 1st as?
Census Day.
Census Day.
Yes.
And on Census Day, what do you want to have happen?
We want everyone to have completed their forms and send them back. If they have not completed the form or have not received the form, they can call 680-3240, and they will be able to direct them to what we're calling our question and answer centers. And those centers will be located across the city to provide assistance to persons who have questions as it relates to filling that form out, receiving that form, and getting that form sent back in.
And that's a local 904 number, 680-3240. If you have any questions in completing this census form, Census 2010, which, as we said at the earlier in this program, is mandated by the United States Constitution that every 10 years, so there would be an enumeration of the population. That means counting the people. So we know how many people are here, so that the federal government then can redirect money to go to your district and other people's districts, to build hospitals, to build roads, to help the schools, correct?
And to draw those districts. We want to make sure that everyone understands filling out that form is like asking for dollars, making sure that they know that we need dollars in Washington to address the needs and the quality of life that we provide here within our city.
What are some of the fears that people have? Because with any government agency, there are going to be some people that say, I don't trust them. Is there something that they should be concerned about regarding filling out this form?
The only thing they need to be concerned about with filling out this form is making sure they're filling out the actual Census 2010 form that is going to come from our U.S. government, making sure that that is what they're filling out. If they receive something that looks similar to this, but it also asks them to make a contribution, then they know that that is not what they need to be filling out.
Suppose I have back due child support, or there's a warrant for my arrest, or there's some other problem in my life, and I complete this form. Should I be worried that the authorities are going to come knocking on my door because I completed this form?
No, you don't have to worry about that, because the information that will be gathered from the census will stay within the Census Bureau. If you're an illegal alien, we need to know that you're here, because we are providing services for you as a result of you being here in Jacksonville in 2010 on April the 1st.
Do you know how we're going to handle homeless folks?
There is an actual process that's in place for dealing with our homeless, and our city has worked with our federal government to make sure that we are counting our homeless. We have a homeless coalition that works very closely with our homeless population here in Jacksonville, and they too will be counted, just as those in jails, dormitories, and other persons within various living situations will be counted.
So it's important, it's free, and as a result of completing this form, any issues that you might have in your life are not going to be raised as a result of this form.
That's correct.
So that's the thing. April 1st is Census Day. You look for the form in your mail. It's going to be blue, and it's not going to ask you for anything but simple questions. And if you have difficulty completing the form, or don't know exactly how to answer a particular question, you can call 904-680-3240 and receive free information.
That's correct.
Any other parting words regarding the census?
I would simply say that we are doing census across the city, and we are making sure that our young people, as well as our seniors and everyone in between, knows that the census is coming. You should be seeing commercials. You should hear people talking about it. If you don't, we're asking you to make this one of the things that you talk to your friends, your neighbors, your family about. And once you receive your census document in the mail, ask your neighbor, have you received yours? I'm sending mine back in, and I encourage you to do the same.
Well, President Obama has cut a public service announcement for this, as have many other. So maybe Comcast can start running that public service announcement by President Obama if they haven't already done that. That would be a good thing to do. Now, you're in the House, though. You're the business of the people. That's what you're there about. You have constituents who have needs, and you're there to represent their needs.
Yes.
And you're new there. You're learning the ropes. You're taking it all in. You're observing. You're wise to do that, I think. Know who the players are, who the friends are. Do you find it as a bipartisan situation there, or is it more like, is it like this, or is it more like this?
Not a whole lot of singing kumbaya, no.
No kumbaya?
No kumbaya singing. It is really a very partisan place to be. And I've been told
to be
that
expected in some respect, though,
in
right?
some respect, we know that politics is partisan, and we know that when you get into office in various levels, that there are certain things that take place. And so what we do, and what I've tried to do, is just as you said, sit back, make sure that I understand how the system works, and then take the concerns that my constituents have brought to me, and then begin to work on those concerns. And so I've spent the past year doing that. We are currently in session, as you said earlier, and I'm looking forward to being able to work through some of the problems that have been brought to me.
For example, what are some of the things that the constituents have raised to you that you feel that you can have a shot at getting done?
One of our judges here in Jacksonville, Judge R.S., came to me and said, you know, I'm seeing a lot of your constituents in my courtroom. And I said, well, what are you saying? He said, I'm seeing a lot of your constituents in my courtroom because they haven't paid driving citations.
He's a traffic judge.
She's a traffic judge. And what he does is, and this is in addition to the other cases that he might handle, they have to cite persons. If you don't pay the fine within 30 days, then you have to, your license gets suspended. And then you have that to happen again, you get pulled over. And it's what we call the snowball effect. And that snowball turns into your license actually ultimately being revoked for a 5-year period of time, and you become a habitual offender, which is a felony. And what we want to do with the bill that Judge Arias has helped me to craft is to allow persons to pay citations in partial payments. And that way you can feel comfortable that although you have the citation, the clerk of courts will work with you to pay the citation, make sure that you are in compliance with whatever rules and regulations have been set forth before you, and then clear your record. We don't want persons out here with felony records, because once you have a felony record, it closes the door on so very many opportunities. We know many jobs require you to have your driver's license, and so we know that this is a bad economic time that we're in. We know that this is an opportunity for us to create a better situation for persons as opposed to a worse situation. And so I think for one bill that I'm excited about, that I do have bipartisan support on, and we're looking forward to being able to get this bill through the process, making sure that we can address the concerns that have been brought to me.
Bipartisan support, that means you reached across the aisle to, you're a Democrat, so you reach bipartisan means you're reaching to Republicans and saying, can we do this together?
Yes.
Because it affects all of us. Are there people that say this isn't a good idea? I mean, why not allow somebody an opportunity who has difficulty to pay off on something that is owed to the government, pay in time? If we were to buy a house, we get a mortgage and we pay off interest and all of that. Is there associated fees as a result of what you're proposing?
There would be associated fees. very minimal fees that would allow you to pay in partial payment to the clerk of courts, and those dollars would stay with the clerk of court for administrative fees.
It seems like a win-win situation. The person is allowed to keep their record intact while paying the penalties that they incurred as a result of the infraction. The government is getting the money, the agencies are getting their money, and everybody goes home and sleeps well at night.
That's
right. It
right.
seems like a win-win.
That means we have safe drivers on the road. They have insurance, because once your license gets suspended, they drop you from your insurance policy. We want to make sure that you have everything you need in place when you're on the road driving.
And we just increased the fees too, didn't we?
Yes,
so they were
did.
pretty steep. The best thing to do is not to get the ticket in the first place. That's the best thing to do. Be a safe driver.
Yes.
There you go. That's the
right answer. That's the correct
but
answer.
some of us get tickets every now and then, right? So and we can't afford it. And if you get that down to that being a habitual offender and you get a felony on your record, then you can't even vote.
That's right.
You know, Mia, I hope you can come back, Representative Jones, because we're all out of time. I really appreciate it. You're a wealth of knowledge. Good luck with your work in the House. I like your style because it's methodical, it's thoughtful, and you're getting it done in Tallahassee. My name is Ken Hurley, and you're watching a program called Civil Discourse. Complete that census form when it comes to you. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you for participating in Civil Discourse, a program that discusses controversial issues in a civil manner. Let us know, friend or foe, we want you on our show. You may contact us in the following ways. Please email your comments to me, Ken, at civication.org, or snail mail at 4830 Atlantic Boulevard, Jacksonville, Florida, 32207, or call us at 904-591-7634. Civication Incorporated is a nonprofit, nonpartisan educational organization.
This is Sarah, or as her friends call her, Sarah the Saver. She's constantly looking for ways to save money, and she knows where the savings are, for the most part. Because she doesn't know she can save money when preparing and filing her taxes electronically. She also doesn't know that all Americans can e-file for free. Visit www.freefile.irs.gov for your free tax software and other free file options. As for Sarah, we're sure she'll discover how to save on her taxes. Eventually, Free File. It's fast, it's safe, it's free. This is Sam, or as his wife calls him, Sensible Sam. Sam's constantly looking for ways to save money, and he knows where to look, for the most part, because Sam doesn't know he can save money when preparing and filing his taxes electronically. He also doesn't know that everyone can e-file for free. Visit www.freefile.irs.gov for your free tax software and other free file options. As for Sam, he'll discover the sensible way to save on his taxes. Eventually, Free File. It's fast, it's safe, it's free.